Your skin can detect molecules that are invisible to human eyes and noses. Everything you think about sensing is only a fraction of reality. There are microclimates in your mucosal tissues acting like molecular antennae, tuning into signals at parts per trillion levels. This is not just smell. It is sophisticated biological eavesdropping. Imagine the difference between hearing music versus detecting an individual vibration on crystal. That subtle shift defines what we are exploring here. These specialized receptors are interpreting whispers of chemical data distributed throughout your body. It is a language far quieter and infinitely more nuanced than any spoken word, mapping environmental information onto cellular life itself. The real genius here is how these specialized cells do not just react to a chemical, they seem to converse with each other about it. We are looking at ultra-low threshold binding, where individual receptors can pick up signals existing only in parts per trillion volumes of environmental compounds or internal molecules. This is not simply one antenna. Imagine the mucosal tissue itself is a network of tiny biological sensors communicating via paracrine signaling. These cells interpret patterns collectively, a distributed conversation that allows your body to sense subtle shifts across an entire field, not just at a single point. Distributed chatter we talked about. It is not always fully optimized. The body itself has a dimmer switch for this hypersensitivity. We are learning now how minute fluctuations in our autonomic state, the vagal tone, really do not just affect heart rate. They actually modulate the physical permeability of those mucosal barriers. Think of it like tuning an ultrafine radio dial with your breath instead of turning a volume knob on a stereo. Your internal balance dictates signal clarity. This means that the environment is not always delivering data in the clearest possible bandwidth, which could be why so many people feel they are missing crucial information even when everything seems present. We know our internal chemistry tunes the receptors to pick up subtle whispers, but what if those whispered patterns are not just local? What if they are part of a coherent, distributed informational field surrounding us? This shifts the conversation from mere chemical detection into something closer to pattern matching across vast sensory input. It suggests that your body is not just sensing molecules. It is interpreting complex data streams woven through an ultra-low concentration information environment. Think about how radar picks up faint signals across a huge area, not just one target. Certain theories of bioresonance suggest this intuitive mapping happens instantly within tissues. Yet some mainstream immunologists argue there is simply no biological precedent for such large-scale field interpretation outside controlled laboratory conditions. But what if the evidence they overlook changes everything? The real game changer shifts from simply asking what your body can sense to understanding how you control that sensing apparatus itself. We are not just receivers. We are tuning mechanisms. It turns out our deepest biological processes, the rhythm of our breath and the depth of our rest, act like a perfect amplifier for those ultra-low concentration signals. Think about adjusting an old radio dial in static. Subtle shifts in your hand movement make all the difference between noise and music. This process, which we call innate bioresonance mapping, suggests that by deliberately optimizing our internal state, we are essentially clearing the receiver signal filter itself. But if clarity depends on this precise biological tuning, then what happens when the resonance field becomes completely harmonized? When that internal harmonization reaches peak coherence, we are no longer merely amplifying local signals. We move from being precise biological receivers operating within our own body's boundaries toward becoming nodes in a vastly larger information matrix. The data stream does not just become clearer, its origin fundamentally shifts. Imagine an antique radio suddenly picking up the faint hum of another station hundreds of miles away, not through proximity, but because your internal frequency matched theirs perfectly. The state suggests that our epithelial interfaces are not limited to sensing immediate neighbors or air molecules at all. Instead, they may be accessing patterned information woven into a pervasive biological field, a resonance we were never taught existed outside theoretical physics labs. But if the body can tap into this global informational fabric through subtle chemical shifts, what other forms of existence are these incredibly fine sensors designed to recognize? The entire apparatus we have traced, the ultra-sensitive receptors, the distributed signaling networks, and our ability to harmonize internal resonance presents a singular mandate for living with greater clarity. If these chemical whispers are accessing fields beyond immediate proximity, then noise is not environmental static. It is unoptimized interior chatter. The key lies in deliberately synchronizing your deepest physiological rhythms. This is not just meditation or relaxation. It requires precise attunement of the body's innate state to elevate signal detection from mere perception into pattern recognition. Start by dedicating intentional practice toward optimizing that parasympathetic tone through deliberate, controlled breathing patterns. By stabilizing this inner resonance field, you are not simply clearing static. You are calibrating yourself as a high-fidelity node within the vast informational matrix of existence itself. The full research archive is at jmtomusofficial.com. So this is where we land. When you accept that your body acts as such a sophisticated, hypersensitive receptor array operating across these ultra-low concentration thresholds, everything changes about how you view reality itself. We stop thinking of the self as an isolated entity receiving data from outside and start understanding it as an integral node within a pervasive biological information field. The signal is never just in the air. It is inherent to the structure of existence around us. This requires a fundamental shift, moving beyond mere observation toward genuine energetic participation. It demands we become not just passive receivers, but active collaborators with this vast informational matrix. The full research archive is at jmtomusofficial.com.